Hi, I'm Gloria, a 36-year-old office worker balancing the ups and downs of daily life. My husband Matthew and I recently celebrated our 8th wedding anniversary, and almost immediately after we tied the knot, we became parents. Our daughter, the brightest part of our lives, is about to turn 8. Over the years, there have been some challenging moments in our marriage, but the joy our daughter brings to our lives is irreplaceable, and on the whole, I find happiness in our family dynamic. That said, like any family, we have our struggles, and for me, one area of tension lies in the way we handle finances. Matthew has a strong passion for his hobbies, and while he doesn't go overboard, he often spends a sizable portion of his income on them. I've always stressed the importance of him contributing a fixed minimum to our household expenses, funds that cover the essentials like utilities and groceries. But since his contributions only cover the basics, I find myself constantly working to tighten our budget elsewhere. My salary goes towards rent, our daughter's school fees, and saving for her future education, and this constant juggling of finances adds a lot of stress to my life. Another source of strain comes from the uneven division of household labor. Despite both of us working full-time, Matthew rarely helps with the chores. I've brought it up countless times, hoping for a more balanced approach to maintaining the house. Juggling work, finances, and home upkeep is exhausting, and I often wish the responsibilities were shared more fairly. Despite this, I stay positive, focusing on creating a warm, nurturing environment for our daughter. As she grows, I hope we can show her the importance of teamwork and responsibility, making adjustments as we go to better support each other. It's not a perfect situation, but I'm committed to making the best of it. When I ask Matthew to help around the house, his go-to excuse is that the tasks would take him too long, and it's easier for me to handle them myself. Over time, I've taken on all the household responsibilities alone. We had our daughter soon after getting married, but Matthew was often absent when it came to her upbringing. He expressed concerns about accidentally hurting her, which meant I carried most of the parenting load. As the years went by, my dissatisfaction with him grew, but we had been together for 8 years and had a growing child. I wasn't sure if initiating a divorce when our daughter was approaching puberty was the right decision. I told myself that maybe it was normal for couples to feel disconnected after many years together and that no family was without its flaws. But a recent incident with my sister-in-law made me seriously reconsider our marriage. One day, she showed up at our door looking visibly distressed. "Gloria, I'm sorry, but I need to stay here for a bit. There's been an issue with Ryan," she said, clearly upset. I was worried and asked if something had happened with her husband. She hesitated and tried to change the subject, which left me feeling uneasy and desperate for more information. Later that night, when Matthew returned from work and we had put our daughter to bed, we all sat down to talk. "So, what happened?" I asked, looking at my sister-in-law. I asked her what had happened, and she hesitated before replying. "Well, Ryan just snapped. He said, out of nowhere, that he wants a divorce." I was stunned. I had always thought of Ryan as a calm, stable, and sincere person, so this sudden outburst didn't make sense. I pressed her for more details, asking, "Why did he get so angry?" She seemed defensive, her voice rising with panic. "Why are you asking me that?" she retorted. A thought crossed my mind. Perhaps she had done something to provoke him. Her avoidance only fueled my concern. "What do you mean? Why am I asking?" I responded. "Why are you defending him? Are you involved with him or something?" Her accusation caught me off guard, but I quickly denied it. "Of course not," I said. "I'm not involved with Ryan." Matthew, overhearing the exchange, laughed off her suggestion. "That's impossible," he said. "She barely has time for anything outside of her responsibilities. And besides, she always leaves her phone out in the open." Despite my husband's defense, frustration bubbled inside me. My life was a constant whirlwind of work, household chores, and caring for our daughter. After long days, I barely had the energy to check my phone, let alone engage in anything like an affair. Still, my sister-in-law insisted she didn't know why Ryan was upset. We agreed it would be best to talk directly to him to clear things up. A little later, Ryan arrived at our house. My sister-in-law, still uneasy, decided to step out and give us some space. Ryan, looking apologetic, expressed regret over the turmoil he'd caused. "I'm really sorry for all the trouble," he said earnestly, his calm demeanor confirming my belief that he wasn't the type to make rash decisions. "Ryan, I just don't understand," I said, pressing him. "You've only been married for a year. Isn't asking for a divorce a bit extreme?" There has to be a reason. Ryan took a deep breath before revealing the shocking truth. The reason is that she spent all of my savings, $110,000, without telling me. I felt the air leave the room. You saved $110,000 and it's all gone in just 1 year, I said, my voice betraying my disbelief. That's about $5,500 every month. How did that happen? Ryan explained that he had been carefully managing their finances, allocating just enough from his monthly income to cover all their living expenses. The entire $110,000 had been spent entirely on non-essential personal expenses, luxuries, and entertainment. No wonder you're upset, I said, empathizing with him. Anyone would be furious in your shoes. I couldn't help but think of my own situation with Matthew's tendency to overspend. It was almost as if this was a family trait. With the revelation of the massive financial strain, I suggested, if she doesn't make an effort to repay that $110,000, maybe you should seriously think about separating, especially since there are no kids involved. Ryan nodded, taking my advice to heart, but then Matthew surprised me by chiming in. I'll make sure my sister pays you back, he said confidently. I was taken aback by his sudden certainty. How could he be so sure? Ryan looked at him, clearly appreciative of the support. I would appreciate that, thank you. With that, we had reached what seemed like a tentative resolution, though I knew the situation was far from over. As Ryan left, my sister-in-law returned to the house, the weight of everything still hanging in the air. I confronted her immediately. Ryan mentioned that he used up all of his savings, $110,000. She quickly became defensive. I used it for living expenses, she retorted, her tone sharp. I tried to explain the situation, but she wouldn't hear it. Ryan had already made it clear that he kept a separate account for everyday expenses. Her reply was dismissive, almost scornful. You don't know anything, so just shut up. Her harsh tone wasn't a surprise. She often belittled me during our conversations. But this time, her complete lack of remorse, coupled with her dismissive attitude toward the mess she created, made it all too clear. Ryan might truly be better off pursuing a divorce. She refused to acknowledge the seriousness of what she'd done, and there was no indication that she planned to fix anything. It painted a grim picture for the future of their marriage. During our heated exchange, Ryan mentioned that he might consider forgiving her if she repaid the full $110,000. My sister-in-law, seemingly cornered by her own actions, lamented, "How can I pay back that much? I'm just a housewife." I responded firmly, "If you can't pay it back, you shouldn't have spent his money in the first place." The tension in the room thickened, and then, almost as if she had an epiphany, my sister-in-law turned to me with a gleam of hope in her eye. "Relax, Gloria. We've got money, right? You've got $220,000 saved up. So no worries, right?" she said, sounding almost victorious, as if she found a miraculous solution. I was thrown off completely. "Wait a minute, how do you even know about my savings, Matthew?" I asked, stunned. I had never shared that I'd saved that amount for our daughter's future tuition. Matthew, appearing unfazed, casually admitted, "I found it when I went through your parents' house. It was in the second drawer of the closet in your room." I was speechless. "You went through my things without asking. That's unbelievable. We're married, but that doesn't mean my personal belongings are up for inspection," I protested, feeling utterly betrayed. Ignoring my outrage, Matthew continued, "Your sister-in-law is in trouble. Give us your savings to help her out." I was incredulous. "I'm not handing over that money. It's for our daughter's future. If you think $110,000 should just be given away, why don't you figure out a way to pay her back?" Matthew didn't hesitate. He reached into a drawer and pulled out divorce papers. "I've had these ready just in case something like this happened," he said coldly, as if he'd been preparing for this moment all along. My frustration boiled over. "You've got some nerve trying to manipulate the situation like this," I snapped. "That's exactly what I've been wanting to say to you," I added, my voice shaking with the weight of my anger. Then, with chilling finality, Matthew filled out the papers and said, "I'm serious. We can get a divorce anytime you want." To my shock, my sister-in-law, watching the drama unfold with an almost gleeful grin, piped up. "Well, I'll be one of your witnesses," she said, scribbling her name on the form as if she were signing a trivial document. "You can either pay me the $110,000 or we can get a divorce," Matthew threatened, as though he were cornering me into a choice. I was astounded by their boldness and manipulative tactics. But rather than giving them the satisfaction of seeing how deeply their words cut, I feigned compliance, allowing the moment to pass without escalating things further. The next day, I prepared myself for whatever came next. I decided to take control of the situation and invited some important figures, my in-laws and Ryan, to our home. When they arrived, Matthew was immediately baffled. "Ryan, why are you here?" "Mom, Dad, what's going on?" he asked, his confusion palpable. Before Matthew could say anything more, his father interjected, his voice calm but firm. "Matthew, don't embarrass yourself any further." He then turned to me and added, "Gloria, I'm truly sorry about my son and daughter's foolish behavior." Ryan also spoke up, his tone sincere. "I must apologize to Gloria," he said. Their apologies were like a bombshell, but the tension didn't subside. Matthew, still bristling, tried to assert himself. "Why are you two apologizing? You should be quiet." Ignoring him, his father continued. "We went through your room, Matthew, and we found stacks of expensive bags and jewelry." His mother added, "Ryan asked us to look into it, and it's clear you've had a habit of hiding expensive purchases from us since you were young." The revelations hit like a ton of bricks, and Matthew's deceit became undeniable. His mother, facing the mounting evidence, finally said, "I can't stay married to you anymore." The tide had turned dramatically. The extent of Matthew's financial misconduct had been exposed, and my earlier concerns now seemed justified in an entirely new light. The situation took another turn when it came out that my sister-in-law had falsely claimed she used the $110,000 for living expenses. "I want you to pay me back the $110,000, Ryan demanded firmly, to everyone's shock, especially Matthew's. "I've already taken steps," Ryan continued. "Matthew, you're getting a divorce too. Gloria already filled out the divorce papers, and I signed as a witness. We just submitted them together." My sister-in-law's declaration was defiant. Matthew was furious. "I won't allow that," he exclaimed. I couldn't hold back my frustration. "You won't allow it? What are you talking about? You're the one who's been threatening divorce and trying to make Gloria, who has nothing to do with your sister's debts, take responsibility for everything. You are despicable. Gloria is my wife, not your property." I shot back. "She wasn't born into your family. She's essentially a stranger to you. You should show her more respect and care." Ryan chimed in, his voice steady. "I'm with Gloria on this. You're completely out of line." Faced with such a direct and reasonable argument from my parents-in-law, Matthew was left speechless, his head lowered in shame. My sister-in-law, visibly shaken, stood by silently, overwhelmed by the turn of events. Thankfully, my parents-in-law helped steer the conversation, assisting both Ryan and me in navigating through the divorce without further complications. In an attempt to make amends, my sister-in-law sold off as many luxury goods as she could, raising about $45,000 to repay Ryan. The remaining $30,000 was covered by my parents-in-law, who would now closely supervise her repayment of the debt. This arrangement brought some balance and ensured she would be held accountable for her actions, while allowing Ryan and me to move forward and start fresh. After the divorce, my sister-in-law found herself in a difficult financial position. She now works tirelessly from dawn till dusk, struggling to pay off the debt she incurred from mismanaging her former husband's savings. Her days are long and exhausting, leaving little room for rest. As for my ex-husband, the divorce forced him to make some significant changes. I arranged for him to provide child support, which he has been able to pay consistently despite his circumstances. However, I've heard through the grapevine that he continues to live alone in a modest apartment. His salary, though decent, is stretched thin by his rent, living expenses, and child support payments. Eventually, the financial strain forced him to move to a cheaper apartment. Sadly, his long-standing habit of unnecessary spending hasn't helped, and despite living in a more affordable place, he often finds himself broke, with no savings to fall back on. This financial instability will likely make it difficult for him to enter another relationship anytime soon. Meanwhile, I've returned to my parents' home with my daughter. Being back under their roof has helped stabilize our lives, allowing me to focus on the future. My parents have been incredibly supportive, especially in helping with childcare while I work. This support has been crucial in allowing me to regain my footing after the divorce. I'm working hard, not just to meet our day-to-day needs, but also to save for my daughter's future. I want her to have every opportunity to pursue her dreams without financial constraints. This is a new chapter for us, and I'm determined to make it a successful one. I plan to continue sharing our journey, hoping that our story might inspire or help others facing similar situations. If you find our story engaging and want to follow our journey through this new phase of our lives, please subscribe to the channel. Your support means so much to me, and I look forward to connecting with you in future videos. Thank you for watching.